Carson has said, without fail, every week, bless your heart to me for the past decade plus. I don't know what that means. It's time to move into the evaluation portion of our meeting. Leading us today is 7-year Toastmaster veteran and Army veteran, Carlos Benitez. Carlos also sponsors 3 Toastmaster Gavel Clubs in 3 correctional facilities. You could say he has a captive audience. He did say that. Please welcome to the lectern, Toastmaster Benitez.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for the kind thoughts this past week. I just got back from Puerto Rico. We picked up my mother-in-law's ashes. My wife's mom passed. So thank you very much for those who called and sent messages to my family. Appreciate it. Moving right along, we're going to entertain our evaluations for the speakers. Leading us off is Toastmaster Victoria Wells, evaluating Toastmaster Jordan Comaker.
It seems that my speaker may have hitchhiked his way out of the meeting today, so I will be finding him at another time to give him my evaluation, but I will share my thoughts with you all. I found out I was evaluating Jordan only a few minutes before his speech, and I've got to say I was a bit nervous, as he is the king of frivolity and humor. We were all riveted, especially with that intro. I know I felt myself wondering what's happening next. However, I continued to find that for a bit longer than I would have liked. Have you guys ever watched a movie that you're about 2/3 of the way in and you still don't quite understand what's going on? That. When I did finally understand, I was still riveted. However, I had wished that maybe he would pause a little bit between announcing that his story was about hitchhiking and telling a story of the girls hitchhiking. I also felt riveted when he pulled out the machete. I wondered maybe if that was his backup, if people weren't paying attention. But overall, I felt that Jordan gave us a really awesome story. I felt encouraged to hitchhike, though as a woman, I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. And I felt that the use of props was very effective, though I wished maybe he had 1 spot for it, not 5. So, thank you all.
He frivolously left some of the spots here. Next, we have Evaluator Will Hamman, evaluating Josh Hamman.
Sturgill Simpson says, "Life ain't fair and the world is mean." How do you give a good speech? Is it perfection? Is it telling the craziest story? No, it's telling a story that we can all connect with. We've all had bad things happen to us, horrific things happen to us in life. But it's how we move on. It's how we get back up from those horrific things. It's how we push forward that defines our life, not those horrific things. And that's what Josh was telling us about today. Every bad thing in your life can be turned into a positive. It can be good. He was at the beginning of his introduction. He stood out and looked at the crowd. He gave us that connection. I wish he would have smiled more. Josh, smile for us. You got a beautiful smile. See, look at that. Come on. He gave us engagement. Have you ever had a shockingly bad event happen to you? Of course we have. We're people. Imagine that button. I just wanted to press the button because I like doing things I'm told not to do. Press the button! He defined anti-fragility. He defined black swan. He gave us examples, such as 9/11, phones, or even meeting your spouse. He had good pace, good body language. He stepped away from the podium, showing confidence in what he was talking about. All of these qualities are how you give a good speech. It's not technical perfection. Every bad thing that occurred, if it wouldn't have occurred, I wouldn't have grown. He asked me, I want my close to be motivational. Is that motivational? Do you feel like, okay, hey, I can turn a bad into a good today? I'm asking you. Okay, mission accomplished. Some things to work on. Smile when you're at the crowd when you're getting your introduction. Provide an eval form to me before. And also speak with your evaluator the night before so that we can go over these things, because I could have gone in a drastically different direction had I known what was coming up the night before. You did a great job, Josh. Thank you.
Anything else? Next, Toastmaster Allison Richards will be evaluating our British lad, Christopher Miles. English, British, naivety, frivolousness.
Well, good morning, y'all. I reckon I'm going to evaluate Chris Miles, and I don't think that I can do the British accent here this morning. But I have to say he was well prepared. He came up to me and he handed me this copy of the speech. Very nice paper, by the way, very thick. Just want to stand here and hold it. It's really nice. But I reckon I won't. But he started with the question, who wants to be a millionaire? Bless your heart, most of us won't be. We won't have buckets and buckets of money. You also asked if you asked me to pay attention to not running on, maybe, right? So with having your speech in front of me, you went off in some little tangents and didn't word for word, but that was good. I would say you probably needed to pause a little more, maybe stand back, take a breath, look at everyone, see who's paying attention. If they want to be a millionaire, raise your hand. Maybe throw some more questions in the middle. Use some vocal variety. Maybe some gestures, and I would have loved to seen you come in on a horse or in a knight's costume or something. Definitely some more props. Oh, maybe a knight's costume, a hat, something, right? You did great. I thought it was great. Very interesting. Who would have known that you owned a theme park in England? How cool is that, right? Good job. I thought that was very interesting. I really love how much we learn about each other's, history and stories, and so great job.
Okay, not to be confused, the role is evaluating, not producing or directing. Next, we have our last but not least speaker, Eugene Rotati, evaluated by our own Toastmaster Tim Linger.
Good morning, Toastmasters. Good morning, Tim. Eugene would like for me to focus on the vocal variety and how he did, good, bad, and different. He has an accent. So let's talk about the things that he did right. Eugene has been a Toastmaster for probably a year now. And when he first started speaking, it was a little bit hard to understand him. And over the course of the year, he's learned to slow down. He's learned to focus on the pronunciation of some of his words. He's gotten into vocal variety. Up here at the lectern, on his third or fourth speech, maybe more since he's been at the club, he's improved every time, and today is proof of that. In the beginning of his speech, he looked around, he spoke to us. He gave us some good points. He talked about over yonder, Moldova, where he's from. He spoke about things that you should talk to. People with an accent have a story to tell. And as a non-Toastmaster, you may not know how to start a conversation. But when you instantly know that they have an accent, a conversation starter might be, well, where are you from? And learn something about their history. I think for improvements, I think a prop would be helpful. And I noticed that you found a prop unexpectedly, which worked out. You used it in your speech, it was great. Another improvement area would be that after you got up here, perhaps you became less comfortable, because you appeared very comfortable in the beginning, but I noticed you started speaking to the back wall. Now, I don't know if you were aware of that, but I focused on that. In the beginning, you spoke to all of us, but towards the end, you started speaking to the back wall. And maybe that was nervousness, or maybe that's just a habit. But if there's an area to improve upon, I would say that. And with that, I would say, bless your heart.
That concludes the evaluation. If all of the evaluators will please stand up.
All qualified.
It doesn't necessarily have to be all in the same order.
Yeah, it does.
Those favoring Victoria Wells, please indicate so by raising your hands.
I can go find Jordan's machete.
You want the hands there or not?
Those indicating your favor for Will Hamman, please raise your hand.
Tim, you know you want to vote, right? Come on, give the kid a graduation present.
Those for Toastmaster Allison Richards. And last but not least, let us not linger.
Oh, he's never heard that.
Now, Tim.
Thank you very much. Evaluators can please sit except for Toastmaster Tim Linger. Thank you, thank you. Moving right along.